Hey Abdul, how's it going, my guy? Welcome in, first comment of the day. How's it going? Welcome back to the chat. Alright, y'all. Feeling good. Alright. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. Let me know what you guys are studying, what you're working on. Welcome into the stream. Welcome back, welcome back. Hair looking kind of crazy. Looking really crazy. I'm more of a blackened chicken kind of guy at Popeyes, Tim. Hey, what's going on, Eduardo? Welcome back into chat today. All right, yo. How's it going? Let's just groove a little bit. All right. Feeling good. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the stream. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name's Michael. Today is July the 1st. We're in a new month. What do you know? Man, time just keeps flying by here, you guys. It feels like we just started the year getting into Harvard CS50. I got a nice for shop. That's awesome. What was I saying? I was saying lost my train of thought. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day so far. Today, we're just going to get right into it, get into some Fluent Python reading, and then start working on the project. So without further ado, let's kind of get back into the flow of it here. I actually, I got Thursday and Friday off work, you boys. The Americans, we get Friday off here, and some of us get the day before too. Yeah, Rashab. Fluent Python, the PDF can be found in my Discord, link down below. Hey, Eduardo. Hey, Marty. How's it going, my guy? Welcome back in, Marty. Yeah, it's just in my Discord, link down below. You can get access to all of my study materials there. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, let me know if you guys want the music loud or quieter. We're going to be grinding out videos this weekend, guys. So, I have Thursday, Friday off work this week. Woo! So, I'm feeling real excited. And then, actually, my lady friend is going to be away actually doing some of her own work. She'll be away out of town. So I'll be just me here grinding away. So I'm going to be streaming quite a bit Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be streaming quite a bit. My plan is to do a lot of work on the project, grind some math this weekend, get going back into math. Hopefully get a large chunk of this book read over this weekend. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like 2 4-hour stream sessions each day. One in the morning, one in the afternoon, or one in the evening. And then I do want to pick up just a mid-tier gaming PC so we could play a couple games of CS every now and then as a reward for ourselves to, and also we can open up some cases and do some giveaways and stuff to you guys. Because I do want to do some giveaways, and I think it'd be fun to do some Steam CS case openings and give away some stuff would be kind of fun. Um, Anywho, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get into the reading for today. Okay, so we left off on page 107, partial consequences of how sets work. All right, the set and frozen set type. So remember we learned a set, right? We know what a set is, and we learned that a frozen set is a set that is you can't change things once it's been created, right? You can't add, you can't repop, right? So types are, the frozen set types are both implemented with hash table. This has these effects. Set elements must be hashable objects, right? Membership testing is very efficient. A set may have millions of elements, but an element can be located directly by computing its hash code. Did we not? Huh. Okay. Whatever. I'm getting like deja vu. Sets have significant memory overhead compared to a low-level array pointers to its elements, which may be more compact but also much slower to search beyond a handful of elements. Element ordering depends on insertion order, but not in a useful or reliable way. If two elements are different but have the same hash code, their positions depend on which their element is added first. Adding elements to a set may change the order of existing elements. That's because the algorithm becomes less efficient if the hash table is more than 2/3 full. So Python may need to move and resize the table as it grows. When this happens, elements are reinserted and their relative ordering may change. See how internals of sets and dicts at fluentpython.com. Set operations, right? Is this one bigger? Yeah, so this is set operations. Let's get the TTS back on. Yeah, we're reading the book here and making notes here as we go, which is pretty nice. These notes are on my GitHub if you want access to them. Set operations. Figure 3-2 gives an overview of the methods you can use on mutable and immutable sets. Many of them are special methods that overload operators such as the ampersand, the greater than or equal to. Table 3.2 shows the math set operators that have corresponding operators of methods in Python. Note that some operators and methods perform in-place changes on the target set. Ampersand equals, difference update, etc. Such operations make no sense in the ideal world of mathematical sets and are not implemented in frozen sets. The infix operators in Table 3.2 require that both operands be sets, but all other methods take one or more iterable arguments. For example, to produce the union of four collections A, B, C, and D, you can use A.union B, C, D, where A must be a set, but B, C, D can be iterables of any type that produce hashable items. If you need to create a new set for the union of four iterables, instead of updating the existing set, you can write unpack A, unpack B, unpack C, and unpack D within a set, thanks to Python 3.5. Right, so you can just kind of do this syntax here to automatically unpack all of the values within these A, B's, and C's iterables, right? And then it will automatically, with the set notation, remove duplicate values and just keep all of the, the values of all of the found within these, the union, right? Which we learned last time was combines two or more sets into a single set containing all unique elements involved in the sets, right? So ABC, ABC, DEF would combine into ABC, DEF. right? We know add, discard, remove, pop, clear. And then you can do these in place and XOR sub, as well as this disjoint. So we learned about some of these, right? Math simple, S and Z. So S ampersand Z, intersection of S and Z. What we learned here, computes the intersection, returns a new set with common elements between two or more sets. So what is in the middle between our Venn diagram? And then this is the OR, right? This is the XOR, the symmetric difference, or things that are not found in both of the sets combined. You can divide or minus, right? Computes the difference. And then the XOR operator.
Marty says, how is it July already?
Yeah, right? It's July already. Ain't that crazy, Marty? Ain't that nuts, my guy? It's pretty crazy. Time really be just flying. Okay, let's keep it pushing. Table 3.3 lists set predicates, operators, and methods that return true or false. E in the set, right? These are just basic, all the operators that you can do with like intervals and stuff you can see with sets. And then some additional methods.
Says, wow, almost 5K subs. This is 3.3% capacity of Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
I was thinking about that, Eduardo. I was at a concert the other week, and I was kind of looking out in the crowd, and I kind of whispered over to my girlfriend. I said, I have almost 2,500 subscribers. I wonder, like, out of this crowd of people, what 2,500 people looks like. And that's all the people that subscribed and potentially watched my stream. So pretty kind of crazy, the impact that we've been able to, slowly accumulate here. I feel like people are pretty like numb to numbers nowadays because people with such large numbers for their followings and whatnot. But 2,500 people is no small number. Like especially over like people. It's not like dollars where you can just obtain dollars. That's like convincing 2,500 individual people to like follow you. Which just takes a lot of like marketing and branding and stuff too, which is interesting to think about. This completes our overview of the features of sets as promised in dictionary views on page 101. We'll now see how two of the dictionary view types behave very much like a frozen set. Okay, so this is set, operations, and dict views. Pause.
Marty says,
dict views.
That's like amount of PPL in a school.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. My graduating class was only like, I think 550, 600 max. So, it's like my entire high school almost. Like, is if they're following my YouTube here.
Tim
which is
says
kind of
my
nuts.
high school was like 1,500 students.
Yeah, right? It's kind of nuts.
Jim says Mike got 2 high school gyms full.
Hey! 2 high school gyms full. That's pretty crazy, actually. You kind of put it into perspective, you guys. Just for me really sitting in my room here and just showing up every day. It's not like I'm out here like building a house live, right? I'm just learning how to code and doing math. Okay. Table 3.5 shows the view objects returned by the dict methods .keys and .items are remarkably similar to the frozen set. Okay, so interesting. And okay, so what is this really trying to tell us then? Oh, basically that frozen sets act pretty similar to dict keys and items as like iterable objects, basically. Okay. And you can use all these operators with them. In particular, dict keys and dict items implement the special methods to support the powerful set operators: ampersand intersection, bar for union, subtraction for difference, and the caret for symmetric difference, or XOR. For example, using the ampersand is easy to get the keys that appear in 2 dictionaries, right? So if we say dict 1 dot keys ampersand dict2 dot keys, you can get all the keys that appear in both dict1 and 2. So B appears in both and D appears in both, and so you get both of those. Note that the return value of ampersand is a set, as depicted here, right? It's a set. Even better, the set operators in dictionary views are compatible with set instances. Check this out. So you have a set, you can do dict1 keys. Oh, so you can call the keys method with an actual set and, do keys with a arbitrary set as well. Okay, so if you're wanting to reduce down keys to a specific set, you can merge them basically with like a predisposed one or something. A dict items view only works as a set if all values. A dict items view only works as a set if all the values in the dict are hashable. Attempting set operations on dict items view with an unhashable value raises type error. On the other hand, a dict keys can always be used as a set because every key is hashable by definition. Using set operators with views will save you a lot of loops and ifs when inspecting the contents of dictionaries in your code. Let Python's efficient implementation in C work for you. With this, we can wrap up this chapter. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Wrapping up this chapter. Let's go. Moving on. Moving on up to these skies. Whatever. What is the words to that song? Moving on up. Okay, so I do want to take some notes here. So this is, what is the set operator in dict views? So I'll say dict.item or dict.keys and dict.values items. Return values can interact with set operations. Right, for example.
Tim says, "Where's the guitar mic? I like a good Yamaha."
I'll show you the axe. I'll show you the axe, Tim. Pause. Let me pull out the hammer.
Kartik says, "Hi guys."
Okay, I'm going to make a note here and say, hey, how's it going, dude? Welcome in, welcome in. What are you working on today, Kartik? I don't think I've read your name before in stream. Welcome if you're new here. Let me know more about you. My name is Michael. Welcome. So we're going to say note. Dict.items and set operations only work if all values within the dict.items are hashable by definition. Are hashable. Okay, note. Dict items and set operations only work if all values in the dict are hashable. By definition, dict keys are hashable. So this does not apply. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to see what the Almighty Orb does have to say about this little note. type error raised. So then I'll say, by definition, dict keys are hashable, so this are always hashable, right? Cool.
Axe says, hey Mike, how's it going?
How's it going, my guy? Welcome in. That's a nod, right? You just got your other account. The old Popeyes. Dr. Pepper. Okay. Chapter summary. So I'm going to actually say, can you give me a real world example where we might want to use set operations like so, and why? Set operations on dict keys and dict items are incredibly useful in real-world applications, especially in data reconciliation, schema comparison, and configuration validation. Here's a real-world example. Scenario: API response schema comparisons, right? Imagine you're working on a client that consumes data from multiple versions of a REST API, and you want to detect missing fields in a new version.
The previous one is still inaccessible for some reason.
Oh, I gotcha. So detect extra unexpected fields that appear, detect changes. So if this is a response and this is 2, as you can see, we got a different email here. And then we also have this last login. So use case 1, detect new or missing fields, right? So we can call a set on the keys of this response and then call the difference between those keys, and that'll return any new fields so this is missing fields, so stuff that were removed in the version 2. And then if you do new keys minus old keys, these are stuff that was added in version 2. Okay. And then for finding changed values, you can set the response of the items and then call XOR on the items to return. So this one is email John at example. This is email John Doe example.
Kartik says, hi bro.
Right, okay. Oh, so this will show you a set of all the values that changed between the two of them. Okay, that's really... Okay, so they're... Man, these are pretty useful then. Right. These could be useful for maybe some of our leak code stuff too. They provide O1 membership checks, unlike linear iteration. They help you reason about structure and change between two dictionaries quickly and declaratively. Are there any common algorithms that typically could use this operation? Yes, several common algorithms and tasks across software engineering and data science naturally leverage set operations on dict keys or dict items. These often fall under categories like comparison, synchronization, and difference detection. So configuration drift detection in DevOps, compare expected baseline config versus actual live config values. So you set all the keys of the live config and take the difference, then you can get all the missing and the unexpected, and then a mismatch of all of them. The key for every key in this one, ampersand this one, if this key does not equal, the values don't equal to one another. Okay, so you take the keys in their union between, not union, anded between these two, and then you would, so this creates basically a set of all keys that are unique, right, to both of these. And then if the values don't equal to one another, then we're not going to keep that key in this set here, okay? Find the difference between two data sets.
Vanch says you what's up.
Hey Vanch, how's it going, my guy? Long time no hear from you, my guy. It's good to hear from you again. What you been working on lately? Okay.
Angst says tech hiring is such a scam in 2025. Just built a full stack microservices project within 24 hours. Deployed it manually on Azure. Paid for API keys and stuff. Recorded an 11-minute video and guess what?
Here we go. What happened, my guy? What happened, my dude? Well, you're telling me, my guy. I got told just because of a kind of a rough or technical.
Got rejected because I did not solve 2 lead code questions in 30 minutes that I had never seen before.
Dude, you're telling me. So for those that don't know, we actually had an interview for a software engineer chemist position last week. And I didn't do bad. I did bad, but I didn't do like terrible. I was able to get some partial solves on some of the answers. But I'm right there with you, dude. I got told basically that I couldn't code in Python. I mean, like that is all I do. That's all I do. What do you mean I can't code in Python? I do it every day. Dude, the thing is that's so funny though, is that I have like 750 hours of live Python coding, like raw and online. Like no other candidate has that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. There's only a few other candidates that have, like, I guess, live documentation of their code in the form of video journaling. And then I got told I couldn't code Python. I knew Tim was going to bring up that crappy analogy. Tim's always that guy to be like, you'll never make a shot you never shoot.
Sweat jobs were so bad I switched to cybersecurity. Angst says I legit built an AI agent from scratch without even knowing what an AI agent is. I kept learning and building it still.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. They wanted a software engineer chemist. I built a full stack site for Chromoplot and SpectroSim using API calls, custom parsing, regular expression, custom Gaussian distribution, normal curves, like a statistical analysis type of model. And they rejected me because I couldn't solve their little file parsing thing for their specific little in 30 minutes. It's like, come on, dude. Like, such crap. And the thing is they gave me a similar problem for my take home, right? And they gave me 2 hours. They gave me 2 hours. Dude, it's like the biggest screw you, man. Like, maybe that's not the kind of environment I even wanted to really work for. Because the problem, though, that they gave me, I think, was even a little bit harder because it required me to use, like, wrap parsed objects in classes, too.
Says, what was the level of the role because they are dumb FTBHLOL, like you have this whole project to show.
So that's what kind of was interesting is, like, the literal title of the role said software engineer chemist. But they didn't ask me anything about chemistry. They honestly just wanted a Python scripter. That should have been the role description and title. Python scripter. That's what they wanted. Like, advanced Python scripter. Not chemist. There was no chemistry. Like, they didn't ask me what a molecule was. They didn't ask me a single element periodic table question. There was nothing applicable to chemistry really besides just maybe the type of products they were making regarding science. I mean, I don't know. So, whatever. All right, let's read this chapter summary right quick. Keep the chats coming, you guys. Dictionaries are a keystone of Python. Over the years, the familiar K1, V1, K2, V2 literal syntax has enhanced the support unpacking with the star star pattern matching as well as dict comprehensions. Beyond the basic dict, the standard library offers handy, ready-to-use specialized mappings like the default dict, chain map, and the counter, all defined in the collections module. With the new dict implementation, ordered dict is not as useful as before, but should remain in the standard library for backward compatibility, and has specific characteristics that dicts doesn't have, such as taking into account key ordering in the equal to equals comparison. Also in the collections module is the user dict, and easy to use base class to create custom mappings. So right, this chapter, if you want or to go back and read, I'll probably have to go back myself and read this chapter again. It just had really a lot of useful information regarding specialized, collections for special type of dict classes and stuff. So this is kind of like a really good cheat code chapter for understanding Python dictionaries on a more advanced level, manipulating them with certain types of, these kind of set operations as well that apply to dictionaries, but also just like unpacking values, just even more. Yeah, I definitely need to go back through because this chapter was pretty dense on dictionaries. Two powerful methods available in most mappings are set default and update. The set default method can update items holding mutable values, for example, in a dict of list values. In a dict of list values, avoiding a secondary search for the same key. The update method allows bulk insertion or overriding of items from any other mapping from iterables provided a key value pairs from any keyword arguments. Mapping constructors also update internally, allowing instances to be initialized from mappings, iterables, or keyword arguments. Since Python 3.9, we can use the union equal operator to update a mapping, and the union operator create a new one from the union of two mappings. Right? We know that the union returns that combines two or more sets into a single set containing all of the unique elements involved in the sets. So let me look up union Venn diagram. So a union in a Venn diagram refers to a combination of elements from two or more sets. Okay, so a union, you just take all the elements in set A and take set B, merge them together, and boom. The ampersand returns all elements that are that are found in both sets. Got you. So that's where I get a little bit of confusion. I get them mixed up. And then this one returns the okay, yeah. So let me pull out the old whiteboard. So A union B is this. Pause, we're back to drawing big melons. My bad, you guys. Right, it's the entire thing. Right, all of this. Right. Okay. A ampersand B is this guy here in the middle. Right. And then A XOR B is these guys here. Right. Anything that's found in A or B. Let me read the chats here real quick. We're almost done. Let me finish this page. A clever hook in the mapping API is the dunder missing method, which lets you customize what happens when a key is not found when using the the key indexing syntax, which that invokes the get item. So when it's missing, you can figure out what to do. The collection.abc module provides the mapping and mutable mapping abstract base classes as standard interfaces useful for runtime type checking. The mapping proxy type from the types module creates an immutable facade for a mapping you want to protect from an accidental change. There are also ABC's abstract base classes for set and mutable set. Dictionary views are a great addition to Python 3, eliminating the memory overhead of the Python 2. Keys, values, and items memories that built lists duplicating data in the target dict instance. In addition, the dict keys and dict items classes support the most useful operators and methods of the frozen set. Okay, then some further readings. And here's just the author's soapbox. Cool. So next we're on to chapter 4 for tomorrow. That's pretty nice. Gut push. Okay. Retired from the lead code. You're telling me, my friend. You're telling me. Scarred. It's not even about the projects, to be honest. It's about the requirements. It should be clear what the expectations are from the get-go. You want me to solve DSA? Let me know, and that's all. Why make me run a full marathon for a take-home project when I deployed manually, which I deployed manually and cost me money, and then not even mention it? Oh, got you. The level of competition these days is unreal. I like to know who's getting these jobs, because if you can get through these 6 rounds, 2 leak codes, 2-hour coding interviews with over 200 candidates, you must be a god. Yeah, right? Without slipping up once, right? Exactly why I switched to cybersecurity. Leak code grind is too much. Yeah, dude. Feels bad. Feels bad. Should we watch like a video? Is there any good Why is this video so long?
Angst says it's just impossible, man. Who TF is even getting hired?
It ain't me, that's for sure, you guys. I can't even get what's crazy, you guys. I don't know if it's crazy or not. I got an interview for a software engineering position.
Banj says, LMAO.
I got an interview for a software engineering position before I got an interview for my actual field of biotech and chemistry. Dude, if you want to talk about cooked, the biotech, biology, and chemistry field is cooked. When I see new grads coming out with their little eager faces, like, hey, I just graduated from Santa Clara University with a degree in biotechnology and a minor in, bio services or, whatever. Just like, dude, good luck, man. We're cooked. Like, it's like, I really don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, I don't know. I mean, I've been grinding for 3.5, almost 4 years now, and I can't even get an interview in this field.
2021 boys.
I was able to get an interview in a completely different sector with self-studying before I was able to get an interview in my current field, which is pretty crazy. I can't even get an interview in my current field, which is so annoying. Might have to go back to school, go like dental school or something, boys. Become a dentist. If this coding doesn't work out, we're gonna have to go back to school. Go to like go to dental school, man. For real. Okay. I really don't want to go to dental school, but I mean, I guess it's always an option. That's what I was gonna do before I became a chemist.
RizX23 says, LMAO.
Hey, Rise, how's it going, dude? RizX23. All right, you guys, so we're back working on the project. So I want to show you guys what I got here. So I have a main program here, just that I wrote just for some test cases. So this is what the overall project. This is the Stalker Whackathon project that we're building, the community project. If you want to contribute, you can.
Nurse and she had 6 offers within 1 week.
Dude, that's the field though, for real. Nursing, man. Never gonna not have a job.
Vange says wow. Tim says time to become a dentist or nurse FR.
Yeah, dude, go back to. I have a human biology degree. I could go do like a 2-year nurse program. Walk out of there making like 150, but you have to. That's a lot. It's a lot of hours, dude. You have to do it like you get a lot of overtime, a lot of like some night shifts and stuff.
Alex
It's
says
hard work.
dentist swearing coming. Mission 2028.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be the new requirement. Is you're gonna see dentists applying for SWE jobs. The new requirement is gonna be PhD in medical field or related adjacent. That's gonna be the new minimum requirement. Oh my god! If you guys aren't subscribed, we're only 25 subs away from.
23 says, I haven't even had an interview yet. I'm cooked.
Are you in college still, Rise? Well, let me know you guys' experience levels. What are your guys' levels? Okay, so
Tim says they gonna event super PhDs.
yeah.
Tim says invent.
So we have this ability to, right? So it's a pretty simple structure. We're not doing anything crazy. So right, the user has the ability to. Right, this is where I'm just testing my classes right now in this main pie. So, right, you can create a portfolio object, right? You can create an account. And then when you add the account to the portfolio with the add account method, it will link the account. The account, right? If you guys go look at the code I wrote, the account has a portfolio parent associated with its instantiation. So when I run in my portfolio add account, I assign the account's parent portfolio to self. So I kind of create this pairing relationship where, okay, I'm your account and you're my portfolio, right? Between the two objects, and then the same thing is happening at the position level for the account and the positions. So what you end up getting is the ability to have an account, have a portfolio called Michael Deming, right? You have multiple accounts in there, such as your Roth IRA, which is held with Fidelity, or your traditional IRA, which is held with Robinhood, or your personal taxable account, which is held with Charles Schwab, or T. Rowe Price, or Vanguard, or any of these institutions or brokerages. Right? You can then add the account to the portfolio, create that bonding link, and then you can create some positions, add the positions to the individual accounts, right? So we have these two positions. Positions 1 and 2 are going into account 1, into this guy, and positions 3 and 4 are going into this account 2 here, which is all held within the portfolio, right? So let's say in my Roth IRA in Fidelity, I have now normally you can't have two positions of Apple together, right? We might need to create some distinctions between like these objects if you're adding a position that's already there, right? I think it's going to just, well, let's go like this. Let's go ahead and print test account 1 dot dot positions.
Says here's a tip, Michael Deming. Call the directory models, not classes.
Apple with this class object here of a position object, right? We're going to print this dot shares. So, right, I should have, I want to see if this is summing 1. Okay.
Says, man, I need to learn how to write tests in Python, lol.
Me too. I'm not the best at testing in either. I just write my kind of own custom little tests here to simulate stuff. I'm not the best at writing like formal stuff. So you add 1 share of Apple, and then you also add another position of Apple 1 share. So it's interesting because account add position.
Says, Abdul, it's easy, man. You just press Alt plus F4 and shut down. The computer works with all languages.
Position, so you just overwrite it. Okay, so I'm gonna edit this function here. So rather than just overwriting,
Angst says plus you can't test what won't run.
You update the individual position. You don't add a new position object, which is what you need here.
Pi unit?
Okay, so let's do this. Let's say self.positions.get the position.ticker, else none.
Tim says
We'll say
the green check marks are so satisfying.
Current is equal to this. I'll say already found position. Right, I'm going to say if not, or I'll say if already found position is none, we're going to just set the position here. Because this is going in and so if I add 2 positions together though,
Angst says one time my PM asked me to write tests for a module and run them using GitHub Actions. I broke a feature intentionally to avoid doing that stuff.
okay, so actually let's do this. If already found position, we're going to raise a value error of account error account already has a So if you have an already found position, you raise a value error saying that the account has a position already for this ticker. See, account self.name.title already has position for this, for position.ticker .upper. Right, so if I run this, I'll get this error. Boom, right here. Account author has position for Apple. For Apple. For stock of, and I'll say position dot shares dot right at, and then we'll say an average here of position dot average cost. So now if I hit this error, sorry, now we get of one share at that much money. I'll say with an average. An average cost of, okay. Okay, so that'll prevent against from adding multiplicate positions because you need to update. If you want to add a position of Apple on top of another Apple, you need to call that position dot update and override the current value of your Apple shares and average cost, basically. One time my project manager asked me to write tests for module and then using GitHub Actions. I book a future unintentionally avoid doing that stuff. Bro. Outed himself. With an average cost. Okay, cool. So now what we'll do is we'll give this like Microsoft and Microsoft here. So now this will clear. We're not adding two of the same positions. Okay, and then we get hit here. So yes, they're the same here. But then we're updating here. So if I update this average cost to be 200, so now we should be getting the same values. Make sure. $13.99. Printing the amount of shares of Apple, which is good. 1 share of Apple. We have total value portfolio $13.99. Update. So changing the average cost doesn't change that. That keeps it there. But we changed. If we print the unrealized gain, that's factored down by 200. And if we update the position 2, also that update that move. Okay, perfect. So this is working. Okay, so let me show you what's going on here. Okay, cool. So, right, it's doing some printing, which was good. This is what we want. So Roth IRA held with Fidelity added to Michael Deming portfolio successfully, right? Traditional IRA held with Robinhood added to Michael Deming portfolio successfully. So those are these two calls here, right? And then we create these positions and we add 4 positions, 2 of them to account 1 and 2 of them to account 2. So we got 1 share of Apple added to account 1, 1 share of Microsoft added to account 1, 1 share of Apple added to account 2, 1 share of Microsoft added to account 2. And so as you can see, we print out the total values of both of them, of the portfolio twice here, and it equals the same thing. But we're updating the position, giving it a new average cost from 0 to 200, keeping the share count the same. Now, what this is going to do is this is not going to affect our overall total value of the portfolio, because by updating the average cost that you paid for the shares only affects your realized or unrealized gain, or loss, right? Your total value is depicted upon the amount of shares you had or have multiplied by the current share price. So as you can see, that's why these values stay the same despite updating the position in between this call, giving it a new value. Now, if I change the share count to differ, then that would affect the value of the account, right? So if I say instead we have 10 shares here, and remember $13.99 here, this number will change if I'm correct. Yeah, $13.99 to $32.70 now, right? So the total value went up because we added 9 more shares, and we have an average cost of $200 per share now, giving us an even less of a unrealized gain, right? Because we should have...
Says I have no idea what any of those things you said mean, but I'm ready to code if you want me to.
All right, so then let's make sure we're doing this right. So now slow. Okay, so $13.99, that's good. We update the shares. Good. We print out the total value, which is here. We print out the unrealized gain. Because basically we're breaking even on these shares almost. This is pretty much the current price of Apple, almost a couple bucks more. So I think that's right. Okay, so to test this out, I'm going to grab one of my current positions. So you guys are going to get a little insight here on my situation. All right, so my current play right now on Apple. So let's say I'm going to remove account number 2 here. I'm going to remove account number 2 here and all the stuff that has to do with account 2 and position 2. Print the value. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Okay. All right, so this is going to be just a individual taxable. And this is going to be with Robinhood. Now, I'm not going to give all my plays here. I'll give you one of them here, my Apple play. Okay, so, and make sure we are getting this right. So we also need to have
Tim says, Mike, were you one of those guys in high school who spent all class on the stock app?
No, I didn't start grinding stocks until like my senior year of college. That's when I started getting into it, when it started to matter. People weren't really into stocks in high school back when I went to high school. We didn't really have like things like Robinhood app or Fidelity. It wasn't around back then. One of my predictions with those apps and with the increased accessibility to investing is, I think, is why we're seeing such high volatility and such drastic stock moves nowadays compared to when we were in the past, to where you can make a 40%, 50% return in a year pretty, not easily, but if you're kind of watching things, you have opportunities to make 40, 50% return in a year plus, compared to like the 8 to 12%, because the volatility is so much more.
Double dealing says best
No, not spammer.
Remove the space.
Get out of here.
BHMQSXD.
Okay, so individual taxable. Test account. We add it to the portfolio. Okay, we're going to create a position. All right. 23.2865 214 shares of Apple at an average cost of $199.112. That's my current Apple play. I am put you guys on some game here. So Apple currently is at, I think, like 209 in the after hours here. So we are up about $10 a share here. Pretty good. 23 times 10, 230 bucks, 240 bucks, yeah. Okay. So if I run, okay, we get this prompt. So I'm actually going to go to.
I was the high school nerd last to be picked in sports teams, but first for the group projects.
So on instantiation of this, I'm going to. Can I call a print on instantiation and say like portfolio and then do self dot name here. Successfully created, right? Okay, so we created the portfolio. So I'll say this, I'll say new portfolio. New portfolio of, we'll say, quote, successfully created. Add an account to begin. Okay, whatever, I'll say successfully created. Okay, new portfolio successfully created. Individual taxable held with Robinhood. Added to Michael Deming portfolio successfully. Deming investments. That's funny. Okay. So then let me go to my account here, on my add position here, updated successfully. I'm going to put it \n here. I'm going to put a \n here. I'm going to put a \n here and one here. And then in position,
Tim says investment hub. Am I onto something here, Mike?
investment hub. Invest hub. All right. In new portfolio, Deming investments successfully created. Individual taxable held with Robinhood added to Deming investments portfolio successfully. Okay, so That's here. That's in the portfolio here. That's here. So I want to make sure I'm getting this. Okay, perfect. Okay. Great. So what is the current price of Apple? I wonder. Let me go to position. I'm gonna go to here. Let me print current price. $207.82. Oh, okay, so Yahoo Finance keeps the close price. Oh, okay, it does. That's why it's not working. So Yahoo Finance keeps the close price. There's no after hours pricing right now, so that's why it's 207.82. That makes sense. Okay, so that's perfect then, and then unrealized gain should be about, yeah, that's about right too. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to um, return self.total value. Can I do? How can you round? Python.
Kartik says, new to this channel bro. From where you started learning Python and also how did you come up with this project and how you are solving it?
Oh, so I just have to. We'll just F string it. Like that, I think. So now if I run this,
Austin says, hello.
hey, how's it going, dude? So that's a flow. Account total value becomes a set. Oh, I don't want to return a set here. I just want to return a format string. Float and stir. Oh. I don't want to have to. I guess let's go like this. Let's call round self dot underscore total value. Two digits. So that will. Perfect. Okay. Hold on. I saw your question. Let me answer it for you real quick. No, I don't want to return that rounded. I want to keep that actually as is. And then I want to return portfolio. Sorry, these guys. So I'm going to round the portfolio values to two decimals at the very end. I don't want to prematurely round the positions, just the portfolios. There we go. Nice. Okay, I saw your thing. Hey, Karthik. New to this channel, bro. Where are you started learning Python? Also, how do you come up with this project, and how are you solving it? And thanks so much for the the message. So I'll give you a little intro. My name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I graduated from Utah State in 2021. I got a job as a formulation chemist right out of college. The market was good, and I currently work at that biotech company still for the past 3.5, almost 4 years, where I work as a formulation chemist, where I kind of make kind of predictive, do a lot of predictive analysis for theoretical yield and concentration of various matrix solutions of serum and biological um, elements, sourcing fluids, whatnot. I make a lot of synthetic biological fluids, things you would find in human bodies, spinal fluids, serum, bloods, plasma, stuff like that. Um, and I make I make things that are used like in control testing and things like that. Um, I Yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I've been teaching myself how to code for a little over a year now. So I started with Harvard CS50P about a year ago. It was pretty difficult at first because I had never been ever seen anything to do with programming before. I had never seen anything before with programming, and so it was pretty hard at first, but I kind of stuck with it over the summer last year. And then after I finished the course, I started this channel and I started reading Python Crash Course, which is found in my Discord. You can find a PDF copy and my notes and solutions and stuff to the book in my Discord, and link down below for free. Um, and Yeah, I started reading that book live on stream and solidifying my knowledge in Python further. So I highly suggest, if you're looking to start in learning Python, to read Python Crash Course and pair it with the Harvard CS50P course. The Harvard CS50P course is free, and there's a free PDF version of the book you can find in my Discord. So it should be a completely free experience. No payment required to learn, and that's all that it took for me to really get started in making my own projects. Once I learned object-oriented programming and file stuff, I was really sprung forward to continue on and kind of on my own. And then once I finished the book, I started building just my own projects. This is the project we're building right now is called Stalker. It's just going. I'm just setting up the structure right now, getting the kind of back-end framework figured out for building, these objects and whatnot. Um, and we will be this is part of the whackathon which is basically like a community project that you guys can also contribute to. I had the registration open. I currently have it closed right now because we reached about 20 people registered. If you would like to participate and want me to open up the registration, let me know and I'll open it up for you and you can register and gain access to the private Stalker Whackathon Summer 2025 Discord channel and get within my community Discord and where I just am doing whatnot. But honestly, it's live on my GitHub, so anybody can view it. And so if you want to submit a PR and you're not actually registered, no big deal. It's whatever. I just wanted to gauge kind of interest with the registration. But yeah, so that's what we're doing here, which is pretty cool. And yeah. What is this song? Fireworks are going off, boys. That's all cool, Mike. Now solve all these 3 hard dynamic programming questions in 40 minutes and walk us through your thought process. Yeah, that's all cool that you spent about, a whole year, 750 hours building projects from scratch, doing it live, getting a community going of 300 or 700 people on Discord, 2,500 people on YouTube, over 700 live hours, over probably 100 hours of actual videos too. But that's all cool, But here, solve this this hard leak code problem in 20 minutes, and if you can't do it, then we'll see you later. Good knowing you. Then I guess all that was for nothing. Right. Hey Austin, and welcome back in, dude. Hopefully that answered your question, Karthik. If you guys are new here, let's get a subscribe and a like on the stream. Thank you guys so much. We're at 2474. Can we get to 2475? Can anybody here not subbed? Can we get a little bit of a sub going? 2475. We got a sub on Twitch yesterday from Rise. Big ups to Rise if he's still in here.
If they give me anything other than an array medium, I'm cooked.
Rise is still in here. Hey, thanks, bro. Okay, so let's push this up. We'll say fix print message formatting.
Axe says 2Q cast greedy hard, take it or leave it.
Folio number rounding, and then account bug fix. Yeah, if you guys want to get access to the code, feel free. We had some good suggestions. Someone suggested that for an account, for this thing, add account here, to make this be quargs, so you can unload every account within this account, basically. So you could say like for account, right in.
And your solution must take into account the edge case that I just made up in my mind and I won't tell you.
Right. Or does it have to be like 2? For every account, right, in the account, right, we could use a keyword argument like such to do this. So you could add multiple accounts within like an iterable object here or something to make it a list of accounts. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. I have to do some more testing, but someone suggested that in the Discord and I wanted them to submit a PR for us. I'm not going to take their idea here. I'm going to leave it as is for right now. So whoever that was in the Discord, if you are here, I saw you. I replied to you too. Feel free. I wanted you to make a PR so you got credit for it and you were able to Miradol. Yeah, that was a great suggestion. Um, but I'll leave that for you to PR. I think you watch the streams back off when I get off because I think of the time zone difference. Okay, cool. So we're at this kind of crossroads here, you guys, where I kind of need to I kind of need to start building like either like a working script for like a proof of concept for like a local state, or I kind of also need to start figuring out how I'm going to handle the database. So what do you guys think? So I haven't exactly figured out where I'm going to host the project, whether it'll be like online or like on the web, like a full stack app or just a Python local file app that you download to your local computer via GitHub and run there. I'm honestly kind of leaning towards that and building just strictly in Python with Tkinter to keep getting practice with Python and Tkinter and more modules in Python. And then using like PyChart and like Matplotlib to plot and do visualizations over your stock performances in your portfolio, things like that. What do you guys suggest? We could make it full stack and do something on React, but I don't really think I want to do that because I got rejected from a Python job even though I've been building Python this entire time. So part of me wants to really keep practicing Python like abilities. And yeah, I know I was able to learn a lot in React and Tailwind and get really better at styling and whatnot, but I feel like it was kind of a disservice, honestly, because if I been just studying Python strictly like I have been during those 3 or 4 months where we were building full stack projects, I might have been able to do better on the interview and get the job. So it's just, We can host on Railway.
Says emo full stack projects are easier to demo for portfolio reasons.
Yeah. That's also the thing too, is the full stack is more portfolio friendly, like in terms of like resume, right? But I don't really need more full stack stuff. I kind of need more.
2QCast says though realistically IDK if anyone ever looks at demos lol.
Dude, probably not, honestly. Like, do recruiters actually click on your project demo? Probably not. It's just honestly all in vain. It's just a facade, which is really, it's just so sad, dude. Like, you put in all this hard work just to put on this facade, basically, that like, oh, pick me out of the pack. And then if you get lucky, you're just... So, honestly, like, maybe it's easier for people to fake it, too, that way.
5 seconds for each of your projects.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Trevor says do ML to build chems or SMTH.
Okay. Let's go ahead and ping here. Hey guys, I am streaming, working on the project. I just pushed up some changes and fixes. I am trying to decide on full stack versus Python local only. part of me wants to do Python only to continue with the practice, but full stack is more enticing for a resume, etc.
Says, how about we make a project where we can create meth with Mike's expertise, and since he has 2.7k subs, he has the network already. Axe says we can call it something like Breaking Bad.
Bruh. Yeah, let me get sick and then I'll break bad.
Axe says IDK just came up with an original idea and thought I'd share.
You're funny, dude. You came up with that Schedule 1 game? Are you the creator of Schedule 1? Hold on. So Abdul, yeah.
Axe says, I mean, it would be sick to have a show where a sick chemistry teacher turns into a meth mafia. Axe says I would watch that for sure. Abdul says, sup.
Oh, I was just looking at your interview question you posted. Yeah, that looks like an exhaustive type of search, BFS. Problem. I've seen a couple of those on LeetCode. I might have to try that one sometime. All right, you guys. What should we work on? I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I kind of have the basic structure here for the 3 accounts here, but the thing is also the portfolio is going to have a cache position.
Oh yeah, that was with Bloomberg for a SRE role, which I haven't gotten a call back yet, lol, but I didn't get through.
Did you get the question when you were, did you answer it? In the interview? Okay, I'm gonna do this. So, I think I want to, a portfolio has an account can have cache. Okay, I'm gonna add in a self._cache is equal to 0, 0. Right. I'm gonna make a function here called def update cache.
Abdul says, I somewhat answered it. Then I had to explain what the rest of the code would do in pseudocode, but trying to write it in Python had me question my intelligence, lol.
What do you normally write in, Abdul? Yeah, that's tricky too if you're trying to do it in a different language for sure. Update cache given self. Okay, so we're gonna say
Abdul says, and by somewhat solve solved it. I just got as far as to figuring out where the starting point is and reading.
So I'm gonna update cache. Okay, so new cache, just gonna be a float. Right, this is gonna say if new cache less than 0, raise value error.
Systems engineer. A lot of fashion PowerShell, but I do write scripts in Python every now
Count
and then,
error.
not as deep as a sweat.
Cannot add cache as negative. Okay, so if new cache is less than 0, so if we have new cache, what we're going to do is say self dot underscore cache is equal to new cache. That'll just update cache here. So this is total value of the account. So the thing is do we want to return total value of the account?
Says what does mean, does it limit direct access to the variable and having to use a getter?
No, not necessarily. It's not anything like official, like it doesn't actually do anything. It's just a naming convention in Python, basically to indicate that these variables will not be accessible by the user in any way. Now, the user isn't going to access these variables at all anywho, but like if you were importing the class as like a module or something, you would return, you would give access to these kind of hidden or kind of variables with properties or like setters, and then you would use setters and getters to have to, yes, like you said, setters and getters to like to update those kind of hidden values, because they're not really supposed to be updated for like safety reasons or whatnot. Like individually, right? We don't want the user to access this instance variable and update it with like a call to it. So that's why we put that there.
Trevor says private.
Private. Yeah. So we'll say cache is this, and then we'll pick a new property here and call def cache, and then I'll say self. Should I say cache or cache available? I kind of like cache available, but I think I might just say cache of self, and that we're going to return the self dot underscore cache variable here. So that'll update cache. So I'm going to say update the private account dot cache variable to a new positive value. Okay, so I'm gonna say def. I guess I'll do add cache also. I know it might be kind of so this one's gonna be saying add a positive value of cache to the account. right? So you can add cache. So if the cache to add is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, so I'll say total cache. Okay, if cache is less than or equal to 0, we're going to raise a value error saying that the count error cannot add negative cache. So if it's not negative, we're just going to update. Cache to add. And then I guess def spend cache.
Abdul says, what are the property?
So the property, I'm not defining. The property is just a way to call to get access to this private variable without actually calling the private variable. You're not supposed to call the private variables within the script. You're supposed to access them with properties. Now you could also use the property like I am in the position to do something dynamically, right? So I don't want to set a current price hard-coded onto here because the current price updates, live with the sticker, the ticker. So whenever you call the current price, it's basically like calling a function to get back a specific value that's just indicated by a property.
So it's like a reference to the private variable.
Yeah, in this instance, and it doesn't always have to be. Like this one's computing like a mathematical value across two of our instance variables to return not an instance variable, but kind of like a property value that it's similar to an instance variable, but it's more of like it's not used in anything. It's created like on the fly, basically, like every time it's called. It's not hard coded as a single value. It relies on some other things that change, potentially.
Austin says, had fun lurking.
Thanks, Austin. I'll see you tomorrow, dude. You're awesome, man. So add cache, remove cache. So say overwrite cache, maybe? Overwrite cache, add cache, remove cache. So I'll say cache to remove, given a float. I'll say if cache to remove is less than 0, we'll go ahead and say new cache total is equal to, or I'll say if it's less than 0,
Trevor says, have you tried TypeScript?
if the absolute value, right, if we say the absolute value of the cache to remove is greater than our self dot underscore cache, right, then we're going to raise a value error indicating that current cache pile less than desired, not enough cache to remove. Not enough cash to remove from the account. So if the absolute value is greater than, so else we'll say new cash total is equal to self dot cash less than.
Mariddle says, "Hey Adam, what's up, Mike? Glad I could join while you're lit."
Hey Mariddle, how's it going, dude? I just mentioned you regarding your suggestion for the account ad here. So yeah, you had a great idea for having the position, or sorry, for having the account or portfolio add account, having a quargs, basically not quargs, a an unpacking ability to unpack multiple accounts. Yeah, that was a great suggestion. So you should go ahead and do a PR and push that up. Okay, so new cash total. Okay, so I'll say, so new cash total should be greater than or equal to 0 in this case, because the cash to remove, if negative, so I'll say this. If cash to remove is less than 0, right, we're going to say new cash is this. Right? I'll say new cash 0.
Mariddle says, "Yeah, I'll do that once I get my laptop back. It's currently down and sent to get repaired."
If cash to remove is greater than 0, new cash total is equal to self dot underscore cash less than cash to remove. Else if it's 0, we're going to return raise value error. So if it's 0, we'll raise the value and say account error and say potential typo. Removing $0 on remove cash call. Something like that, and then else we'll say new cash total is equal to self dot underscore cash is equal to the new cash total. So if the absolute value is, we'll say not enough cash, we'll set this variable. We'll update the variable for either case. So we'll say none. I'm gonna say if new cash total is none, I'm gonna raise value, we're gonna raise another value error, I guess, and just say account error. I don't even think we really need to do this because it should override if it's not. Else the cache to remove given. If new cache total is none, right? Say new cache total is none. Okay, so I'm going to see if the Almighty Orb has any suggestions for my functions here. So I'm going to write a doc string here and say remove a and allotted root lessen the account cache reserve by a certain amount. So this will be add a positive value of cache. Okay, so I'm going to give overwrite cache. Let's go here and prompt. I wrote some functions for my account class and am wanting some feedback regarding clarity and bugs. Don't show me code. Use your words. If you guys aren't subscribed, please sub along to the stream. We're on one sub away from 75. So if you want to be lucky number 75, give a thumbs up and a sub. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got 18 people here on the YouTube. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. I stream every single day around 7 p.m. PST after my 9-to-5 job as a chemist, teaching myself how to code, live projects and doing reading in Fluent Python, building live projects. We finished chapter 3 of Fluent Python today, so really cool. Keep on moving. It's clear and mostly solid. Here's some few key points of feedback. Purpose is clear. It's obvious the function updates the internal cache value. Missing cache initialization. If cache wasn't defined in the initialization method of the account, setting it where no update propagation if your account or portfolio has a total value that includes cache. Okay, so right now our cache okay, so I'm going to do this. If the cache, so I'm going to go here and say current cache is equal to self.cache. I'm going to say so this just overwrites. Right. So if I add cache, all I do is need to add variable.
Riddle says it won't reach the last if statement cause it'll be caught in the else statement just above it.
Okay, so override cache. Yeah, we need to do back to what I had before. Okay, so we'll say current cache is equal to self dot underscore cache. I'm gonna say total self dot total value less equals the current cache. We're gonna set the new cache and then do self dot total value plus equals new cache, I believe is what we're wanting. So then we'll say print say self dot name dot title cache reserve overwritten as new cache. Successfully overwritten. As new cache. Okay, so let me take this and see if that's loading better. Okay, I made some changes. Reflects on total value correctly. You're probably subtracting the old cache and adding the new one, keeping total value consistent. This is how update state instead of naive overwrite. Typo in self-name. You like them in self-name dot title. So the thing is, we're also going to have to update self dot the portfolio has a total amount of cache associated with it. Okay, so if I want to update the portfolio's cache as well, current account cache, current portfolio. So if I have the account, I lessen the account, just the cache of the account. So now total value plus self dot cache here. So now if I go to my main pie, where this is okay. So on add cache, go okay, so if we're updating total value to include cache here as well, self dot total value plus equals the cash to add here. Now let's print out a message saying cash added. Cash balance equals to cash to add here. Okay, so I'm going to give my add cash function now. How about this one? Validation check, synchronize state, updating both cash and total value, keeps account integrity. Print. Cannot add negative cash, might miss anyone you want. Cash must be. Cash to add must. It's probably better. Oh. Cash to add. Added cash to add to self.name title. To cash reserve. New. Okay, let me try that. Okay, made. This version is much clearer and informative. Cash to add must be greater than 0. And now you print the amount. Print both the amount added and resulting balance. .2f, that'd be good to add too.
Myrtle says, are all trading transactions done in USD in every other country?
No. Def not. We'll have to worry about that when we get there. Right now I only have USD. Pi Finance I think is uses USD, at least by default. Okay, let's see. Is that good? Very spot on. Robust, accurate, internal, polished output, clear feedback. Okay. So then let's go ahead. Now we have remove cache.
Brittle says we can add a currency prop in portfolio, right?
Probably. Yeah, we could probably do like a currency type in your portfolio. Yeah, that'd be a good idea too. That'd be a good place to put it for sure. Remove cache to remove a flow less than the account cache reserved by a certain amount. Not enough cache to remove. Current cache balance self dot cache not sufficient. New cache total.
Brittle says we'll have to replace $sign with currency type in multiple files.
Yeah, or we'll have to just remove it in general, basically, or somehow figure out like right, or we could just have it be self dot currency, right? You could just have the emblem, the logo, or the symbol be the actual string value of the currency, and then just replace this with, right, with, you know, self dot parent portfolio, right? Parent portfolio currency symbol, right? That's what you could replace it. Have it be dynamic. Or something like that, maybe. Okay, so it's not this cache total. So we update the new cache. The new total. Current cache plus. If it's negative, that'll be new cache total.
Brittle says absolutely.
Okay, now I'm gonna give it this one. Or say we have so if we add cache, so new cache total becomes. So I'll say self dot total value less equals plus equals cache to remove. And then here it'll be self dot total value less equals the cache to remove. Okay, so now I'm going to give it this one. See what it says. Okay, last one. Check the amount exceeds the current cache smart, handles negative input gracefully. Allowing both positive and negative increases creates more rooms for bugs. Someone might pass negative 100. But if you're aiming for robustness, you could standardize output to always expect positive values, otherwise. Okay, so then let's say this has to be positive. So right off the jump, if it's less than 0, we can raise this value here to remove. This be greater than $0. If the cache to remove is greater than self cache, right? Then we'll do this. Else we'll do here. No. So it's greater than 0. So say new cache total is the cache and the cache to remove. Okay, so now let's try this. This is a much cleaner, more predictable grid update. Enforcing cache to be greater than 0. Early validation. Simplicity. Optional handling. User feedback or print log. Okay. So on success, let's print removed cache to remove successfully from cache reserve. New balance is self.cache. Okay, so how about that? I'll take that. A little bit better. Remove a specified positive cache amount from the reserve. Okay, perfect. So now you have the ability to add cache. So let's say git add here. Add cache var to account. And methods to update cache. Okay, so if I have an account here, I add the account, I add a position. So if I run this just by default, I have a total value of just under $5,000. So I'm going to add this position. I'm going to call test account dot add cache. Let's add $1,000 of cache, right? Let's add $1,000 of cash. So now this should be 5,000. No, because cash is not being passed forward to the portfolio. If I print out test account dot cash, right, and print that, I get the 1,000 there. But my portfolio isn't getting the cash all the way up, okay, which is fine. Right, this is just giving total value here. So this is total value. So if I add an account, all right, I'm gonna leave this bug for tomorrow. So tomorrow what we'll do is we will fix, we'll link together the portfolio. So we have the account updating the total value for this cash variable as well. So now we have a cash variable that we're adding a position, or adding over in cash. We can add cash to the account, but it's increasing the total value of the account, right? So if I go to main.py, instead of printing cash, I print the account total value, right? This will be 5,559, but the portfolio total value is only 4,959 because we're not passing the cash from the account to the portfolio. So in the portfolio, this is also going to have a self._cash is equal to a 0.0, right? You can't add cash to the portfolio, you add cash to the individual accounts, right? So, which is fine. When you add an account, you take the account's cash, right? So we'll go account, so account cash is equal to account dot cash, right? And then what we'll say is add the account, add the cash. So we just have to update the cash for this account. So self._cash is equal to account plus equal to account._cash. Okay. Then on delete account, what we'll do is we'll say current account, or say account cash is equal to account.cash. Oh no, I'll have to say, hold on. Account cash equal to account.cash, right? And then equal to account cash, and then I'm going to go here, this is rem, remove cash. I'll call this rem cache, like to remove cache. So we'll remove that cache if there is no erase. Okay, we'll update here. So self.cache less equals to the rem cache. Okay. So I'm going to give it my entire portfolio. I'm going to say this. Okay, I passed cache to the portfolio for add and delete account. Error risk on pop before rem is none. Check your accessing rem cache before rem isn't none. Oh. So let's just go here and then get rem cache is equal to rem dot cache. Or we could just say dot cache here. And both account and account name are passed. Okay, so then if I say, so then the account though, if I update the cache of the account, I have to also so if I overwrite cache, current cache, I need to remove the current cache value from the parent cache. So self dot underscore parent portfolio dot cache less equals the current cache, and then on add cache, oh no, so less equals, and then we update here for new cache, right? And then we say on adding cache, we update self dot oh no, I don't want to update. I don't want to give the portfolio a cache value because the portfolio doesn't have cache associated with it. I'm going to increase total value, new cache, total value, self dot underscore parent portfolio dot total value plus equals cache to add. And on here, new cache total. Self dot parent portfolio dot.
How long do you usually code each day, and what keeps you motivated to keep showing up every day?
Hey dude, I usually code for around 2 to 3 hours every single day. And honestly, what keeps me coming is just wanting to get better, sheer just will about wanting to get better, having nothing else to better to do besides learn and continue learning, and growing motivation to make more money, grow, learn more, And then obviously the stream, having you guys here hanging out with me too. We've got 21 people just watching me code right now, hanging out. So it's pretty cool. So we'll make the parent portfolio total value will lessen by the cash to remove amount.
One Amchub says thank you.
So let's just do this. Total value of the cash. Okay, so now if I call this on line 18 of portfolio here, self dot total value Okay, so now if I go main, there we go. Okay, so what I did there now is we're passing up those values. So this first print that I'm printing out here is the position current price, right? Which is this guy here. No. That's this here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And so the cash is being added onto the portfolio here. So if I go here, I print out test account 1.cash, we'll get 4,000 and 1,000. Right, so we have a total value. $1,000 of this total value for the account is a cash, and so that matches that value. Perfect. So we'll go get add here. Linked account cash to total value for port. So what I'll have to do next is potentially keep a cash tracker on the portfolio. Right? Right now the portfolio doesn't have any cash associated with it. It's just being summed under the portfolio's total value, whereas each account can have cash underneath it, right? Which is similar, which is how it works on like an actual brokerage. Your 401k has a different cash reserve balance. Your IRA or your traditional or your individual account has a different account cash balance. And then you can transfer cash between them if you so be it. But you can't obviously transfer cash like out of an IRA and stuff like that. Once it's in there, unless you make a withdrawal or a draw on it with penalty or after a certain age, which is beside the point. But what we should be able to do now is provide portfolio with a cash value just which is the sum of the overall cash in the entire portfolio. So okay, so then right here we're doing total value goes up by here. So we'll also have to increase the cash by the amount. All right, you guys, this was a good stream. So if you guys want to participate, this project is open for you guys to also participate and contribute on. It's in my GitHub, linked down in the description. You can join and participate and discuss with us features and potential things to add in the Discord link down below completely for free within the Whackathon section of the Discord. So if you want to participate and kind of be involved in a more community-based project and have something on your resume that shows community effort, this is a good project to maybe start with. We're using Python for right now to get a proof of concept before we kind of expand out into kind of a full stack environment. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. PST to continue on with our studying in Python with reading Fluent Python, starting chapter 4 tomorrow and continuing on with our project. Everything's starting to come up and build up really nicely, getting things kind of linked together via these object structures and this kind of tree type of object structure and data classes. So thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I've been teaching myself to code for about 1 year now, every day after my 9 to 5 job as a formulation chemist. I stream every single day around 7 p.m. PST, and thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We'll continue on with reading and code tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe, like the stream. If you guys haven't yet, please like the stream before you go. It really, really helps to just keep pushing our content up and keep me motivated.